Hello everybody, it's Kyra from BodyCandy. Welcome back to the tea. My voice has seen better days. I'm very tired. I got tattooed this weekend. I worked a tattoo convention. Tired. So is she. She's very tired. On today's episode of the tea, we'll be talking about know your jewellery size before you buy. It's a very important topic. But before we get into this, remember to like, comment and subscribe to BodyCandy. You'll be seeing a lot more of these informative videos. First off, we'll go with cartilage jewellery. So cartilage piercings, with the exception of industrials, are generally 16 gauge. Industrials normally 14 gauge because that helps with the stability, with it being two piercings connected by one bar. That means unless your piercer decided otherwise, maybe due to your anatomy, your conch, rook, tragus, daith, etc. Generally 16 gauge. So cartilage studs, so these are tiny barbells with the back end usually being a ball end. Usually about 6mm, which is generally a good size for helix, tragus or a flat piercing. Conch piercings can be a little bit trickier just because the cartilage there is generally a lot thicker. So for that you may want to go for a flatback labret for a little bit more room. They have the standard length of about 8mm. A lot of people like to wear circular jewellery in their conch, which can be also quite tricky as you want it to go all the way around the ear without squeezing too tight on this part. A 12mm ring is normally the ample size for this, but it really does depend on your anatomy. As a 12mm ring is normally about mid-size for most people. This will allow you to figure out if you need a larger or smaller piece. So another really complex one is nostril jewellery. This is one that people get wrong very frequently. Standard nostril piercing is 18 gauge. Some piercers like to size up to a 16 gauge and very few will go down to a 20 gauge. And if your piercing is a non-standard size, your piercer should inform you about this. A standard nose bone has a 6mm post, so that is the length of it. And this should work for most people, generally. If you happen to have limited space inside your nostrils, speak to your piercer about getting a flatback labret in there. And these are a slightly shorter length too. And please remember that nose bone jewellery is only for healed and established piercings. A standard nose hoop is about 8mm in diameter, which is a good in-between size for a proper fit on most people. If you like a slightly more snug fit, go for a 6mm. That is what I have in my nose. If you want to go larger, then maybe a 10mm. Septum piercings, on the other hand, are typically 16 gauge. Piercers will also do 14 gauge. Septums vary pretty wildly in terms of thickness and required diameter. For example, clicker jewellery, the barbell portion is normally 8mm. You may need a longer bar. The one reason why the horseshoe that you see is really popular because it has such a vast range of sizes and styles. Lip jewellery. Lip piercings. So pretty easy, the standard horizontal lip piercing is usually 16 gauge. You will be pierced with a slightly longer bar when you get pierced, just for the swelling. But an 8mm flatback labret will be the standard that you will get after you need to downsize. If shorter or longer jewellery is needed, you'll be able to base that off the millimeters that you've already got. Very simple, just to buy a threadless post and a new attachment. And you can swap and change this as you want and you can put new attachments on, which is what I've done. I actually had to size down twice, but that's just for me and my anatomy. So on to nipple jewellery. The standard nipple jewellery is 14 gauge, which is slightly bigger than the average piercing. And the typical length of jewellery is 14mm. Some people will be pierced with 12mm, but in order to accommodate for swelling, 14mm is generally required. Finally, nipple shields. They are not best measured by the barbell, but by the shield itself. So the shields have two openings where the barbell slides through, and you just need to make sure that that shield part is going to be comfortable for you. So this is the wearable length of the jewellery. You'll need to measure the area inside between the two openings. So if the space in between is 14mm, you'll need a 16mm bar. You'll also need to measure the shield vertically to make sure it actually fits around your nipple. And that area is called the rise. So that is everything on this episode of The Tea. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely time shopping for the correct jewellery size. I'll see you on the next one.